On February 1992, the year that I was born, the world celebrated the first International Men's Day. Then in 2010, it was changed to November 19th, the day I was born. A weird coincidence, but still relevant. I posted this picture on my Instagram, November 19th, 2017. Most of the suicides, homelessness, victims of violent crimes, workplace deaths, incarceration statistics, all men.
It's a very, very complicated matter. Just consider this, that 93% of workplace fatalities are men. 4 of 5 suicides are men. Men are dropping out of higher education at very alarming rates. We're down to 38% now of college students are men, and it's dropping rapidly.
The numbers seemed about as controversial as posting something like, oh, Nicolas Cage has been in over 100 movies, or technically bananas are berries, but strawberries are not. But it seems I was wrong. It didn't take long until the angry DMs and the unfollows began. Ew, why are you posting this? I can't tell if this post is serious. You'd have thought that I posted, men are better than women, or something. The most memorable was probably, LMAO, what do men need a day for? Because the answer to that was in the post itself. Where was all this coming from? The responses seemed to amount to, if you support men, then you are against women. In 2016, Duncan Green and Gary Barker wrote an article saying it may be a, quote, bad idea to support straight white men. They did make sure to clarify the color and sexuality several times. But why is it a bad idea? Well, International Men's Day has a goal to be, quote, an occasion for men to celebrate their achievements and contributions while highlighting the discrimination against them. So I'll ask again, why is that bad? See, according to Duncan and Gary, it, quote, puts the focus on individual men and not on the roots of the problem. It asks us to pat our backs while identifying our victimhood. It suggests that somehow we as men deserve attention alongside other international causes. A revolutionary thought, in my opinion. Maybe half of the global population might benefit from some international attention to various issues for one specific day. And I can already see the comments, oh, every day is International Men's Day. Listen, the idea behind what these two are saying is called zero-sum thinking. An easy way to think of it is like a seesaw. If one is going up, the other is going down. You'll hear me say this many times through this video, but attention and awareness are not zero sum. Knowing that men are suffering does not mean you don't know or suddenly care less that women are. Sophia Warringer, when proposing that International Men's Day should be a major feminist talking point, said this: women thrive when men also thrive. Those who call themselves feminists should be highlighting the appalling suicide rate in men, tackling stigmas around men's mental health, and caring that boys are falling behind girls academically, not hailing it as progress. The campaign for gender equality should take up all causes, regardless of who is falling behind. It makes sense to me. Feminism is supposedly for men, right? In 2016, when the word feminism hit its peak search volume on Google, we were all regularly told that.
What comes to mind when you hear the word feminist? I'm wondering if you imagine someone like this. I don't know, I kind of do. Honestly, what a feminist is simply a person who believes in equality for men and women. It's really simple.
So why are men's rights and men's mental health treated like a bad word, a bad thing? So this is what we're going to be covering today. Depression, suicide, expressions of emotions like crying or talking, traditional talk therapy and what good, if any, it does do for men, assault and domestic abuse shelters, sex abuse of men and boys, social expectations of men, workplace deaths, men being the, quote, expendable sex, prison, feminism, trying to really understand if there is truth to the claim that feminism is a pro-men's movement, which could probably be a video all on its own. Education, dating, parental rights, divorce, the demonization of young boys, and so much more. Because of the nature of YouTube, topics like these almost never get monetized, and I will likely still need to censor certain words. I'm not going to ask you for money, only that you listen with an open mind until the end. Think of the people in your life that these sections apply to, and I ask that you understand I went as deep down every rabbit hole as I could to truly cover all of this. But know that I will still fail despite the several hundred hours that went into this. To give as comprehensive of a breakdown as possible, I've done two things. I have several questions that I posed to my Instagram followers, over 2,000 people. Each of these polls averaged about 150 people answering. Some of these questions I first asked almost 2 years ago when I released episode 27 of the podcast, my first episode on men's mental health. These questions were targeted at men, but some of them are kind of more of a perception thing, so I asked women to vote also. I also asked women to vote so we could have a bit of a comparison. In that comparison is not an intention to create division, but to show what I believe is a stark difference in certain social concepts like women crying, asking for help, and what it's like for men. It ended up being about 50-50 men and women voting. So as I go through these, I'll only be discussing male votes unless I think the female comparison is noteworthy on certain topics. I will also be having small clips from several interviews I did with real people to discuss these subjects, which will be interspersed throughout the episode, as you've already started to see. I'd like to thank them all. Andrea Aiden, a family law attorney who specialized in men for years. James Wright of kimonosforkai.org, who lost his son Kai and now runs a nonprofit that discusses youth suicide. Cruz Cathersides, Forrest, my mother, Ben, Leora Dominguez, who lost her husband, Mike Rock, an Army Green Beret who now works in child sex crimes. If you'd like to hear more from him, you can check out episode 36, which is a full episode with him. Garrett, a men's dating coach. Kevin Brunet, who grew up in one of the world's strictest religions. And my best friend, Wes, who is remaining mostly anonymous. I'll link the social medias and relevant websites in the description. And I will also have a private link to some of the full interviews with these people. Stats and numbers can sometimes be too abstract. Faces and voices, I believe, make people see the reality of this. And for that reason, this discussion will not be holding back on details. This video only represents my views and none of the collaborators, unless explicitly stated otherwise. Now, I'm going to say this one time, and that will be it. Talking about men's rights and men's mental health does not diminish women's experiences. When I talk about men and women or feminism, it is because it is a contrast and a comparison. Using this information in a negative way is not my intention, and if it ever seems that way, I want to be clear, it is not. We should be able to discuss men's and women's rights respectively without needing to include the other, though there may be benefits to it at times. This episode is about men, and it will be treated as such. If you are looking for an episode about women, you can find one literally anywhere on the internet. Talking about these topics does not make you a misogynist, an abuser, a rape apologist, or any of the other phrases that come up in this episode. No one should need to apologize for talking about this. And anyone who makes you feel like you should is wrong. No one should need a paragraph of qualifiers for a discussion of a group's struggles, but here we are. If this is your first time here, I make bi-weekly deep dives into fitness, nutrition, and wellness pop culture trends, as well as holistic bodybuilding and powerlifting content, so make sure to subscribe to hear more of that. Obviously, this episode is a lot more in the mental health space. I will not be doing an Amazon gift card giveaway how I usually do, but instead donating money to Kimonos for Kai.
Kimonos for Kai is a teen and preteen suicide prevention and awareness organization where we try to help kids through trusted adults. We try to help parents start those genuine conversations. We do many other things. We actually provide funds and money for families that have lost a child to suicide to help with memorial services, with their funeral expenses. Because I know when we lost our son, we were not financially prepared for that. That is not something that we had ever even imagined or considered, having to do planning for in case we had lost a child. And so many of the families that we deal with through Kimonos for Kai are in that same exact boat. And so we'll give them grants of money from anywhere from $1,000 to $2,500, however much, depending on their needs. What we also help with is if a child is in crisis and a family contacts us and say, oh my God, our child we don't know what to do. He wants to kill himself. He's told us he wants to kill himself. Or we found a letter, his suicide letter. What can we do? We will then again also pay for a therapist, psychologist, somebody, their hourly rate to get that child out of crisis.
Hey guys, if you like that clip, make sure to check out the full documentary that's linked here. Thank you.